We first went to see a movie, and it was off of, is that Alabama?
Well, it's the River Oaks Theater.
I guess. We saw a movie, and then he took me to a club that was really shishi, as Oprah would say. It's Boccaccio's, it was called. And I was impressed.
That right there was just a glimpse into the love story of local couple Carl and Colleen Joyner. They recently sat down with My Legacy Video to document their journey together.
Think of it like a video scrapbook, a way for loved ones to preserve and share their stories for future generations. Joining us now with more about the process and how these films come together, My Legacy Video executive producer Chris Swanson. Welcome back to KPRC. After graduating high school, our viewers need to know this. You worked at KPRC starting in 1978, Chris?
I did, right out of high school. Started working here, worked in the news department for 6 years.
That is fantastic. So Chris knows a thing or two about video production and capturing these stories. This is such a great idea, sitting people down, getting their stories, hearing those stories in their own words. And it's something that many of us don't really think about until it's too late. So why did you decide to start this company, Chris?
I had a good friend of mine that passed away. I went to his celebration of life in San Marcos, Texas. He was a very accomplished gentleman who actually was George Strait's tour manager.
Wow.
And as I was driving back down I-10 coming back, I have a production company. We do all kinds of different videos and things, but I started thinking the stories that he had are gone. And think of what he could have had on video that people would have loved to heard the stories, and they're gone now. So that made me decide, there's a lot of need here. People don't think about it until after their loved ones are gone. How many of you would like to hear your grandpa tell that story one more time, or mom or dad even tell a story? There's no guarantees on how long people are going to be around.
And the details become foggy too for the rest of us. It's like, wait, what was that story grandpa was telling? What year was that? So when you have, again, their story on video in their own words, it's preserving these memories for generations to come.
For sure. And in the Joyners case, they showed the video at their Christmas get-together, and it changed the whole project. Was something that made them talk for an hour or two about how they grew up. And, the grandchildren were asking Mr. Joyner, said, "So you raised chickens?" He said, "Yes, I raised chickens. And those chickens would lay eggs, and I'd sell the eggs for 35 cents a dozen. And that's how I paid for my first car and my first year of college." And they were just beside themselves. So years to come, those kids and those grandkids will never forget that moment when they had that special time. Because when you go to a family reunion or something, you don't talk about that. You talk about the weather, you talk about the football teams, you talk about whatever. You don't really get down into it. We do that. We do an extensive interview about talking, what do you remember about your grandma and grandpa, your mom and dad? Where'd you go to school? Did you play sports? Were you in the band? All kinds of different questions that people don't normally ask. And we get it all together, and then we condense it down, and we make it where it's really something that's an interesting documentary on their life.
Wow. I mean, it goes to the point, like, everyone's got a story to tell. You getting down to the nitty gritty and figuring out what those stories are. And really, it is a special bonding situation for the family. What if someone isn't like us, and what if they're camera shy? I mean, what if someone says, well, I don't really, I'm not really into the whole camera thing. What do you do?
We work with them on that.
Okay.
We've got experience dealing with that. The cameras are always intimidating, but we have a way to kind of start talking to them and get them to open up a little bit. And, we'll make it comfortable for them. It's not a high stress situation. There's no pressure.
And it's their story, so only they can tell it.
And we don't want them to prepare. We don't want them to memorize anything. We want it to be natural. They know every question that we're going to ask, they have the answer to.
Right.
We also saw some beautiful vintage photos when they were telling their stories. We were seeing old photos. That seems sort of like a critical piece, right? And so if someone wants you to do this, what do you need from them in advance? I mean, should we be going through, we have a suitcase at my mom's house, a literal suitcase of old printed photographs. And so how does the process work? Can you lay it out for us?
Yes. So we do the interview first, and then we make requests on what we want that matches what the interview says. So we say, do you have a picture of your mom and dad? Do you have a picture of you in the band? Do you have a picture of you graduating? Do you have a picture of your wedding pictures? Whatever you've got, we make that request to them, because otherwise they have a lot of pictures too. So then they have a list of what they want to look for, and they get the perfect picture for that. And if they don't have it digitized, we will digitize it for them, and then we will put that in. It just enhances it so much. As you saw in the video example there, we showed the River Oaks Theater. We showed them when they were going on their first date. That kind of thing just brings it to life.
And about how long does the whole process take usually?
It'll take probably from start to finish, when we first start talking to them, a couple of months.
Okay.
Now we have several different packages, you know. If they want, we will just do the interview and give that to them. And at the end, we always give them the entire uncut, raw interview for them to have forever, because sometimes they may just want to watch that.
Yeah. Well, and also it seems like something that many people talk about. Oh, we should do this, we should do that. But Chris, your team, you actually can help get that process going, get that ball rolling, and at least capture those memories.
Yes.
Get the camera rolling.
The most critical thing is the interview. And unfortunately, if you wait too long, we may not be able to get that part of it.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris, we think it's really beautiful what you're doing. Thanks so much for stopping by Houston Life.
Always.
Yeah, maybe we should sit down, tell Chris our life story.
I think Chris's life story is probably a little more interesting than ours.
Probably.
You're going to yours every day.
All those early stories of KPRC too. We need to document those.
We'll talk.
By the way, in the meantime, visit mylegacyvideo.com if you'd like to learn more. You can also pick up the phone, give them a call, 713-851-6675.
Good stuff there.